A do-it-yourself extension arm, and we start now. What I have here is my do-it-yourself camera extension arm to use in the blind while self-filming your hunting situations. I'm going to show you what I did on making this. You can buy these online. I've seen them. They're up close to $90 to $100 till they get them shipped to you. And I just didn't know if I wanted to spend that kind of money. I can make one. I have a Bogan tripod. I've had that since back in the early 80s. Fluid head there was mounted down where this part of the arm is right now. There's a 3/8 inch bolt comes out of this section here that the head screwed fast to. Okay, here's my Bogan tripod with the fluid head, the way I've used it, and the gray mounting plate there on top would be screwed to the bottom of my DSLR camera. What happens when you're in a blind is you have that tripod set as close to the edge of the blind, or I do anyhow, set to the edge of the blind as close as I can, which also puts your camera close to the blind. And sometimes if you have to move your fluid head with the camera and you need to take that camera and point it to the left, you end up hitting the side of the blind. So what an extension arm does is it gives you the distance of the arm, and mine from where it mounts onto the tripod to the fluid head where it mounts is about 10 to 10.25 inches. The one I've seen online, they call it a 10-inch mount. What I use to make my adjustable, extendable arm for my camera is that piece of 1-inch square tubing. So what I did was on the right side, looking at the right side of the tubing, I measured down 1.5 inches and drilled that hole there straight through, 3/8 inch diameter. Then I use a 3/8 by 1.5 inch bolt with a flat washer on it, and that goes through that hole on the right hand side of that aluminum tubing, and then it threads into the fluid head that is now mounted on the tripod. The far hole on the left side of the tubing is also a 3/8, but it just goes through the one. It doesn't go completely through because it gets mounted onto the 3/8 inch bolt that the fluid head is mounted to right at the moment. Okay, this is the bottom of my fluid head, and that is the 3/8 inch hole that is in the bottom of that head that my 3/8 by 1.5 inch bolt will be screwed into that. This is the 3/8 inch bolt that the fluid head gets mounted to that I just showed you in the previous part of the video here. If you were putting that into the tripod, it went down in like that, the 3/8 inch bolt came out, and then your fluid head mounted onto that. So instead of the fluid head being on there, that's where we start with the extension arm. That was a 3/8 inch lock nut that I found. Have that turned on, or the arm here, tube, is turned into that 3/8 inch bolt is screwed into that tight. Okay, then the next thing we do is take our 3/8 inch and a half bolt with a flat washer, stick it through the bottom there, and now the fluid head will get screwed onto that portion. Okay, now there we have the bolt screwed into the bottom of the fluid head. You can see the movement you have. It's 10 inches out the mount of the camera. You can circle it around. Move your fluid head up and down. Turn it left and right, however. But if that tripod is against the side of my blind, the camera is 10 inches away from it. So I got good movement. I'm able to turn here. My lens isn't going to hit the side of the blind. And I can pull it out around here without leaning forward and watch everything in the screen on the camera. Now, if your tripod is not a better tripod like this Bogan I have, and you have an inexpensive one that you bought, most of those, the heads do not, you won't be able to do this with them. Here's my DSLR camera extension arm with the camera mounted. See how much fluidness, movement you get. Move my camera. Like I said, if I was in my blind and I had the tripod tight against over here at the blind, my lens isn't going to hit it. I have plenty of freedom of movement. I can also use it and turn it around. To me, the shooter. So there we have her, mounted. My DIY extension arm for my camera. So if you want to learn more on DIY hunting projects and crossbow hunting, start today by hitting the round icon subscribe button, and you will keep up to date. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.